Hello everyone, welcome to the St James's Park home dugout. It's, well, to be honest, these look a bit like body bags, but that's a bit grim for a Saturday evening. A little word there for Chris Gorham and Dan Hawker, who are pretending not to put me off, but doing a very good job of it. St James's Park, by the way, those of you who saw the stuff on Instagram that I put up earlier in the game, it's a hell of a place, and you can appreciate just how far the away fans there would have been up in there are from the visiting goal. It's a long way. I'm going to go for a walk because I've been sitting down for a while and punching the desk, which is something I don't think I've done probably in 2 years because everything's been going so swimmingly. God, this was extraordinarily frustrating because Norwich have played well. In this middle bit, sort of between that penalty area and that penalty area, Norwich are great. Moved the ball really well. I think most of the journalists here today, most of the home fans will have looked at Norwich and gone, wow, look at this team that's moving the ball, that wants the ball, wants possession, is doing things with it. That's probably why they booed Newcastle off at the end of the game, because Newcastle sat deep. I think it's a system that will work when they win games, because it's the sort of thing that Wolves have done, and they've got the pace to counter and really hurt teams. And they had that threat constantly against Norwich today. But it's not probably as attractive to watch when it's not working. And for Norwich, they've played well. They've created enough chances to win 3 Premier League games. They've looked pretty solid at the back. I think some of it was possibly last ditch at times, but generally they have defended well, actually. It's probably just more nerve-wracking while you're actually watching it play out because you get a little bit more twitchy. But they've done so much right, and I'm sorry if this sounds like the 12 other videos that I've done this season. But what do you say at this point? What do you say? Teemu Pukki had the pick of the chances today. He is doing a great job of doing the things he knows he does really well. The problem is that means that he's often trying to take the same finish with his right foot low to the keeper's left, and they know what to do with it now. They know when Tim is in, that's probably what's going to enter. He needs to just whip one up into the top left corner or something like that, and ironically do something different, which a lot of strikers are told not to do. But it has become a little bit predictable, I think, in that essence. But I'm not going to have a go at Teemu because he's done so much for this football club, and likewise, there is a huge reliance on him, especially away from home with the goals he creates and scores. Norwich rely on him. They rely on him at home as well. A big issue are the chances that either are not being taken that are falling to other players, or just the complete lack of goals. I mean, there are not enough players in the box when Norwich put in some pretty decent deliveries. Kenny McLean had a wonderful chance from a header. Sam Byram had 2, I think, as well. And the Kenny McLean one was very similar to the goal he scored against Manchester City. Just sort of didn't really connect fully and headed wide. So it's hard to really pin too much on Teemu because it's a reliance issue. It's everyone's issue really in terms of putting that together. But I'm really conscious of not selling this positively because and I don't want to spin it because that's not right, because Norwich are doing so much that's good, but so much that makes them look really short of being a Premier League side that can stay up, because they're not taking the chances to make them clinical enough for this level, and often they do throw in a mistake or lose possession in an area that means they are liable to concede. All I will say is that they haven't lost today, which would have been absolute killer, and most of the people I was speaking to digitally or here kind of expected that sucker punch might come. So Norwich aren't in a terrible position. There are going to be a lot of drop points by other teams around them, and Norwich do still have to play them. So clearly they really needed to win today. They haven't lost, and by no means am I saying that this means that this point is the great escape has now begun. But it wasn't the disaster it could have been. Understandably, though, everyone is absolutely gutted. Teemu Pukki was shaking his head as he came off. We spoke to Tim Krul and Christoph Zimmermann afterwards, and there were a lot of and as I said, I was banging the desk. I mean, so many chances, and they played well. So we move on now. Norwich have 2 weeks until their next play, which is of course at Carrow Road against Liverpool, who are unbeaten, and I think they're 22 points clear or something absolutely ridiculous. They're going to bin off basically their FA Cup replay, and they are going abroad during their winter break. Norwich will have a few days off, but it'll be like an international break and they won't really go anywhere. So, hey, if Liverpool don't take it seriously, if Norwich play, to be honest, like they have done over about a 2.5 month period, but take their chances, which anyone at this level, even Norwich, can do on their day, stranger things have happened. It would be absolutely the embodiment of this season and entirely ridiculous, but you know, it could be quite the occasion. It's an evening kick-off at Carroll, I think 5:30 on the Saturday. And we've got to enjoy it, haven't we? Ultimately, we can all get beaten up about these things, but Norwich are where they are. Let's see what happens next. And I think then the other side of the Liverpool game, we'll know what they need to do to give themselves any chance. It's hard. I don't really want to write things off because they're doing so much right, but I think it also, of course, factors into the fact that Norwich haven't had much, or have decided not to spend much money or to push beyond what they have, and I think if it does start getting sticky, I think we're going to hear probably a bit more of that as the season unwinds, because, you know, for Daniel Farke, he'll look at it and think, look at these guys who've got this money to spend and look at what I don't have to spend. I will say it again as well, bringing on Mario Vrancic with a couple of minutes to go, and Anel Hernandez, we're not seeing Daniel proactively alter the game enough. There is an argument that Josip Drumic, after what happened at Burnley, could have come on for 15 minutes maybe and given Teemu a rest, or I don't know, could have done something more proactive and being a bigger protagonist in the game, other than just to keep doing what you're doing, which, as Tim Krul said to me, they are doing it perfectly. What they're being told to do, they are literally doing it. So there we go. I just want to point out, Amy Buendia was back today. He didn't start, but he came on. I was quite excited by that because of how the game was poised. I think having come on, you could see why he didn't start. I thought he looked short of match fitness. It'll be good that he's got another couple of weeks to recover from his quad injury, but I thought he looked short today, which is a bit of a shame. I thought Kenny McLean got up and down really well, and Lucas Rupp actually probably had a better game than Andre Duda, who had a good chance himself and just put it in the side netting. So but yeah, it's a tricky game to analyse really, because Norwich haven't done much wrong apart from the thing that's supposedly the toughest thing to do in football. So there we go. I'm going to go home. It's a long old poke on the train too. Thanks for watching. Wherever you're watching, please leave a comment, because I always read them, and a like and a dislike, whatever you wish, and share on whichever platform you're watching. Have a good week or so off. I might do a video during the week or during the break, just to break things up, because I haven't really spoken about the transfer window or anything, but you know what's happened there by now. And we'll see you at Carrow Road in a fortnight for Norwich hosting the Premier League champions-elect, which seems a bit ridiculous to say that early February, but it's very much the case. I'm expecting to see a very good side. They were, you know, probably in third gear at Anfield, and they were still phenomenally good in terms of their energy. Norwich are going to have to be very good just to keep the score down, probably. But, you know, we all know how football works, which is why we probably still come and watch every so often. I'll leave you. Have a lovely evening. I'll see you later.